What's up, my PT peeps? One Eye Bri back to talk about The Walking Dead and do a discussion about Season 7 and what makes Ezekiel join Rick. Also, we have some potential spoilers for episode 713. Spoiler warning, obviously. If you don't want to know that information, I don't want to ruin it for you, stop watching now. But Ezekiel, Rick, right now, going into episode 710, they're not on the same page. Ezekiel does not want to fight and mess up the connection with the Saviors and doesn't want to make it any worse for the kingdom people at all, as the Saviors don't come in the kingdom. And that's the deal that Ezekiel wants to keep. He doesn't want to break that. It's working for them. So he doesn't see the need to break that, to fight them, for people to die. He had asked Morgan. You know Morgan's not going to help him. But 709, Ezekiel made him wait a day, thought about it, weighed the options, and told Rick, I cannot join the fight because he doesn't feel it's right for them. And I understand that. But what's going to happen that makes him join the fight? Because we know he does from the comic, and we need it to happen because Rick needs the kingdom. The kingdom is a big, important side, and they're huge. And they already have a problem with the Saviors. The deal isn't all great. He seems to think it is, but he's not the one getting his ass kicked over and over again by these Saviors and getting his stuff taken away. But if something happens, like we think it will, then that deal's going to go out the window. Ezekiel's going to fight. And what do you think it is? Let us know in the comments right now. If you want to pause it, post your comments before we let you know. But who does Ezekiel talk to, and who talks some sense into him? Is it Ben? Is it, a kingdom rider? Is it Richard? Is it Morgan? Is it Jerry? I love some Jerry. Does Jerry get his way in there and talk a little bit? Nah, I think Jerry's just for comic relief. I think he's hilarious. Hopefully he's on the show for a long time. Hopefully he's one of the remaining members of the kingdom down the road. He's pretty freaking hilarious. I love Jerry, and I want him to be around, but I don't think he's the guy that talks some sense into Ezekiel. Benjamin, I don't think so either. They already had that conversation in 709. Ben's like, I think we should kind of do something here. Ezekiel's like, nah, I don't think the time is right. I don't think it's good for that. But does something happen to Ben that may or may not cause it to happen? We'll see. We'll talk about that in a second. Morgan. Does Morgan finally snap out of it and be like, look, dude, we got to take these out. They're bad news. I know people like this. This isn't going to work well if we don't do anything. Don't think that happens, or does it? Does something happen as well? We'll talk about that in a second. And last but definitely not least is Carol. Does Carol talk some sense into Ezekiel and say we got to do something here or not? Because right now, as in 709, 710, Carol does not want to do anything. She wants to be left alone. She doesn't want to fight or anything, but does something give her the reason to fight or change her mind? Let's find out. So spoilers here, guys. I don't want to ruin it for you. Spoilers are coming. Stop watching now if you don't want to know these spoilers. Here we go. Now, the big thing that changes everything for Ezekiel and the kingdom is in episode 713, Bury Me Here. It's the synopsis is, things do not go as planned when a group of kingdomers delivers goods to the Saviors during a routine supply drop-off. Now, this was supposed to be episode 714, but they moved it earlier to 713, and this is the news about that. So, according to information listing and casting calls and other rumors that have surfaced, both Richard and Ben die in the episode. So, those are rumors right now, as these may or may not occur, but they're highly likely to occur. So, Richard and Ben die in episode 713. At this time, we think Ben's death will be caused by some shady dealings from Richard during a supply run. We call it Melongate. It's believed that he will stir up a conflict between the Saviors and the Kingdomers as another attempt to get Ezekiel to fight back, but Ben will end up paying the price with his life. During filming, Morgan was seen dragging Richard's body. We believe Ben's death will trigger Morgan to regress back into crazy mode, and he will kill Richard as a result. His life wasn't all that precious, was it, Morgan? It's speculated that Morgan will go back to Carol and eventually tell her what happened to Glenn and Abraham. Carol filmed at the kingdom, so it appears she goes back to encourage Zeke to fight. So, wow. So if you want to pause that and reread it, it's kind of crazy. But Richard decides to do another drop-off deal, something shady, and his dealings are just not working out. Richard is not working well for the kingdom and the Saviors. So it looks to be both plans against the Saviors will not work out well for him and the group. So that sucks. So that is what's going to happen in 713, most likely. It's a rumor, but I think it's going to happen. As I told you in 7:10, he has a plan with Daryl to kind of set up Carol, and that ultimately doesn't work either. So Richard, just stop making plans, man. They're not working for you. Just stop what you're doing. But Ben looks to pay the ultimate price and dies, which sucks because I thought he would outlive them. I thought he would be a big member of the group going forward, because if you know the comics, you know a lot of the group of the kingdom doesn't survive when we meet another group, but I thought Ben might be one of those people that could possibly go on to lead in the kingdom down the road. But if he's rumored to die, that's kind of crazy. So Ben, Richard, they work on another plan after the other one, because Daryl leaves the kingdom and heads to the hilltop, and he won't be around there in 7:13 most likely. But Melon Gate, are these the melons that cause the problems in the promo photos there? So that's crazy, which causes Morgan to flip out and be Crazy Morgan again. He supposedly loses his bow staff or stick or walking stick, whatever you want to call it, in 7:10. So does he get another one? Does he do something else? Does he take Ben's? Because if Ben dies, Ben's not going to need his, as he has one. So there's a problem with Richard and Morgan too. So Carol is told by Morgan in 7:13 about Glenn and Abe, because Morgan knows now, because in the meeting in the auditorium, they told him. Well, Rosita said Glenn, Abraham, Glenn, Olivia, Spencer, they're all gone. So Carol's the one that looks to go tell Ezekiel and say, look, all this is happening. We're going down a slippery slope here. We're all going to die if we don't do it. Now, she's talking to Daryl most likely in this picture in 7:10, and Daryl does not tell her anything, as we'll find out. But Carol finds out in 7:13 from Morgan to go and tell Ezekiel. So it's kind of crazy. We got to wait a couple episodes, but it looks to be awesome to see how it plays out. And it sucks that we lose Ben. I'm kind of feeling that Richard needs to go now. He dies in the comic as well. So, it's just a little different pattern here. But Richard, he's not turning out to be well for the group and the kingdom. Now, if you know the comic, you know Shiva and Ezekiel and Jesus, and the group gets all together for all that war. So hopefully we get to see a scene just like that in the finale. We know that Shiva filmed the finale. We got a video about that, talking about that. So there's some pictures of the animatronic puppet and stuff like that. Pretty awesome. Definitely check out that video if you want to see more about that. And that's the news we got, guys, about Ezekiel joining the group, what happens, episode 7:13. And let us know what you think, guys. Post your comments below what you think of the stuff, who turns Ezekiel to fight with Rick. Join our Walking Dead community page on Facebook. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Subscribe today to get more videos. You guys are awesome, and thank you for watching, guys.